Dear friends, MEP engineer and consultant, welcome to VK Jain Circuit classes once again. The current subject is transportation in building complexes. Uh, we'll be dealing with lift, escalators and elevators. So, welcome once again. Friends, architects, structural engineers and MEP engineers. Architect can also make mistakes. We'll take up a very high profile example of architectural elevated, elevator self-design catastrophe. The 47-story luxury in Tempo Tower, Benidorm, Spain was once upon a time typed as tallest residential building in the European Union with its 47 188-meter tall building. The architects forgot to put enough shaft for the lift. The notorious mishap was caused by a mixture of greed and incompetence. Now this greed is very important because the owner of the system, the building, out of greed asked architecture to make hurry and start the building. They start collecting fund from different parties and later on if they don't get enough fund then they try to increase the height. The in-tempo building was originally planned to have only 20 stories. Wanting more tenants and buyers, the client asked what the building, how the building can be enlarged. So the architect simply added 27 more stories without modifying the elevator shaft and lifting machinery accordingly. Unbelievably, the oversight supposed was not spotted until 2010 when the building was already constructed up to 110 meters. The lifting mechanism that was originally installed for the building was as per designed to serve exactly 20 floors. When the decision was made to add the extra stories, architects simply extended the existing shaft but failed to consider the fact that storage would also mean more use or that the space would not be sufficient for necessary amount of additional lifting equipment. Friends, in the design provisions, first of all, let me take up the provisions to be made for physically challenged persons. The following code and rules and regulations need to be deployed in India. The first and foremost is harmonized guidelines and standards for universal accessibility in India 2021 issued by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. The second one is National Building Code of India, NVC 2016, Part 8, Accessibility. Now this is getting revised as NVC 2025. This is being prepared by Bureau of Indian Standards. Next is Indian Standard 15,330 of 2003, lift for persons with disability. The fourth one is International EN 81-70 of 2021, safety rules for construction and installation of lift. Accessibility, the lift for persons including persons with disability, basis for. The next one is Indian Standard 15,330 of 2003. It defines minimum car dimensions, door timings, control height, etc. Sixth one is ISO 4190-1 of 2010, lift, elevators and escalator, planning and selection, used for dimensional and layout planning for lift shaft and landings. Friends, let us discuss one by one what are the provisions for physically challenged persons to be made in elevators. The first one is elevator location and access. In this, we are supposed to consider proximity. The lift should be placed as if easily accessible from the main entrance connected to barrier-free routes. The route should be barrier-free because the physically challenged person may have to go on wheelchair. Approach minimum dimension could be 1500 mm by 1500 mm, clear maneuvering space in front of elevator door for wheelchair turning. Third one is level landing. Approaching the lift from anywhere, uh, the landing should be leveled properly. Floor level at the landing and car entrance must be flush. No step or gap more than 12 millimeter. Second consideration, car dimensions, that is cabin size. Minimum internal clear dimensions varies by building type. We can think of residential building, minimum car size must be 1100 to 1400, 1100 width and 1400 mm depth. Second one, public or institutional buildings. The car size, minimum car size must be 1600 wide by 1500 deep for comfortable turning. Hospital and stretcher lift, the dimensions are 2000 width and 1400 depth for full stretcher consideration. Friends, MEP engineers, we are discussing the provision to be made for a particular lift to be used by physically challenged persons. The third item is with regard to doors. The width Door width should be minimum 900 mm clear opening to allow wheelchair entry. The operation of the lift should be automatic. Timing, door open and close timing must allow sufficient duration for wheelchair for slow users. The minimum 5 seconds. Sensors, infrared curtain sensors are to prevent door closing during user boarding the lift. Control panel design. The lift is provided from inside or outside with control panel. There is a limitation regarding the height. Control should be between 900 mm and 1200 mm above the floor level for reach a seated position, that means for person on wheelchair. Layout, a horizontal or vertical arrangement with large tactile buttons should be or equal to 20 mm diameter. Tactile and braille, each button level with raised tactile numbers and braille. The tactile numbers on the elevator control panel are raised touch detectable digits, usually that allow visually impaired user to identify floor buttons by feeling them with their fingers, needing to see them. By virtue of Braille system, blinds can feel the numbers, but of course, they must have been trained with Braille system. The color contrast. Buttons and marking should contrast with the background. Emergency button, clearly marked, tactile and reachable from wheelchair. Friends, the physically challenged person may be deaf also. For deaf, we have to make auditory and visual indicators. These are floor announcement, audible voice announcement for floor numbers and door opening and closing. Second, visual display, bright LED or LCD floor indicator inside and outside the car. Emergency communication system, two-way voice intercom with visual indicator showing that help is on the way. Third, fourth item, alarm signal, both visual and auditory alarm. Next is handrails and support. Handrail must be provided on three sides of the lift, excluding the entrance. Handrail height should be 900 mm to 1000 mm from floor level or at least on one wall. Shape, circular, oval, cross section, 30 to 40 mm diameter. Ends, the rounded and not projecting into circulation space. The handrails are necessary to give support to the wheelchair persons. Friends, we are discussing the provision to be made for physically challenged persons. The seventh item of This feature is with regard to flooring and threshold. Non-slip surface inside the car, no step between landing and car floor, tactile warning tiles at the landing for visually impaired users, 300 wide strip before the door. Regarding signage, there should be a high contrast raised text near each landing and inside the car. Floor number should be in braille and tactile form. Accessible symbol should be displayed on accessible elevators. Ninth item is emergency provisions. For emergency, battery backup for light, alarm and communication has to be provided so that in case of power failure, they come in operation. Emergency exit keyhole accessible to maintenance personnel. Evacuation procedure for mobility impaired person to be displayed inside. In the next slide, we are going to learn about additional advanced features which are optional. Friends, these are the additional advanced features which are optional, may not be provided, but recommended for better use. Voice control operation for touchless call buttons. Mirror on rear wall for wheelchair user so that they can see behind when exiting. Lower reflective ceiling to avoid glare. CCTV surveillance for safety and monitoring. This slide shows the space occupied by a average person, statistical average person. And statistical average person all over the world is taken as 600 by 450 elliptical space. Although for consideration it becomes a rectangular. This is known as typical occupancy ellipse. It has been observed worldwide that an average person normally occupies a space of 600 by 450 deep. Lift car cabins are required to be designed taking this statistical feature. This slide shows the number of persons which can be there inside a particular lift size. Friends, in this slide, I am describing some major design concerns with respect to lift. First is circulation efficiency, location and arrangement, coordination with lobby, stairway and corridor. This is a provision with respect to firefighting. We will learn it in firefighting section. Fire and safety regulations to be observed. There are two major design features of any lift system. They are handling capacity, otherwise known as quantity of service, then interval or waiting time, which is known as quality of service. This we will learn in Third section on lift. Consideration by lift function. Consideration has to be given whether to type of lift, whether passenger, goods, fireman, shuttle, observation, and the last one is aesthetics and economy. Aesthetics from architectural point of view and economy with respect to owner and users. This slide shows the energy efficiency apparatus or feature of the lift. We are supposed to provide regenerative type of drive, electric drive. The regenerative drive is the latest upgrade which enables power generation during stopping of the elevator. Unlike the conventional drives which heat a resistor while dynamic braking, regenerative drives generate useful power which can be used by other lifts, electrical equipment, or also can be fed back to the grid. At the same time, they are designed to ensure efficient braking of the elevator due to codal requirement. Also, power generated by this drive has very low harmonic distortion. That means this system is designed with this feature also. The regenerative drive also offers multiple protection functions such as overcurrent and short circuit protection, over temperature protection, and also abnormal power voltage protection. How it is possible? How does it work? Remember that the traction lift rolls frictionlessly on a traction sieve with the car cabin at one end and counterweight on the other end. The counterweight is equal to weight of the car cabin plus 45 to 50% of passenger weight. When the lift travels up with a light load or travels down with a heavy load, energy is produced. The regenerative drive covers this energy and converts it into electricity for other plants are returned to the grid. This slide shows you electrical power consumption when a heavily loaded car goes up. In that case, electrical power is generated when it is coming down. Similarly, for lightly loaded car, there is a power consumption. But reversely, lightly loaded car when going down generates electrical power. Dear friends, this graphical representation compares four different type of lift system and each each type has three distinct load for energy consumption. The green one is showing car lighting. The blue one is showing control systems, power or energy consumed by control systems. And the third one is energy consumed by machine and drive. Now let us see the most energy consuming type of system known as hydraulic system. The second one is a geared system, which is better system with respect to lift passenger not getting jerked during travel, but energy wise it is second highest. Then we have the gearless system. In the gearless system, no gears are provided, but rack and pinion arrangement is provided. And in this system, the energy consumption is much better than geared system. And the fourth one is machine room less, gearless with regenerative drive system. Although this system may be costly, but it is space effective and energy effective. The National Building Code 2016 to be revised as 2025 in its volume 2 part V section 5, that is installations of lift, escalator and moving walks 5A, lift portion only, provides a very essential feature of fireman lift. As you know, in case of major fire, if it is established as a major fire, the one of the lift is taken over by firemen for moving from one floor to another floor for their operation purpose. And that lift is known as fireman's lift. The fireman lift shall have the following minimum requirements. Lift car shall have floor area of not less than 1.44 square meters. It also have a loading capacity of not less than 544 kg, that means 8 persons. Lift landing doors should have a minimum fire resistance of 1 hour. This is essential because during heavy fire, the door has to door must not burn or start burning. Third feature is door shall have an automatic operation for car and landing. Fireman lift in a building having more than 15 meter or more height shall work or above the speed of 1 meter per second so as to reach the top floor from ground level within 1 minute. This 1 minute is important. This slide describes some other features of fire lift. Wherever applicable, fire lift shall be provided with a minimum capacity of 8 passengers and it should be fully automated and provided with emergency switch on ground level. In general, building 15 meter in height above shall be provided with fire lift. Second is in case of fire, only firemen shall operate the fire lift. In normal course, it may be used by other persons. Third feature, each fire lift shall be equipped with suitable intercommunication equipment for communicating with control room on the ground floor of the building. And the fourth feature is The number and location of fire lift in a building shall be decided after taking into consideration various factors like building population, floor area, and compartmentation area. However, it can every 1200 square meter of the useful space should be provided with a fire lift. Dear engineers and consultant friends, we have learned about provisions to be made for physically challenged persons. We have also learned about the fire lift and lift for fireman purpose in case of deep fires. We have also learned about major mistakes made by architects and other designers during the lift installation. Now we'll learn about the general lift design features which are required as per National Building Code 2016, which is getting revised as National Building Code 2025. General requirement for the lift shall be as follows. Wall of the lift enclosure shall have a fire rating of 2 hours. We learnt in the fire portion that the lift door should have a fire resistance of 1 hour. But the lift enclosure in general should have a fire rating of 2 hours. That means there should not be any structural failure on any part of the lift lobby, lift enclosure, that is lift shaft. Lift shaft shall have a vent at the top of area not less than 0.2 square meter for venting off the smoke generated during heavy fire. Lift motor room shall be located preferably on the top of the shaft and separated from the shaft by the floor of the room. Landing doors in the lift enclosure shall have a fire resistance of not less than 1 hour. The number of lift in one row for a lift bank shall not exceed 4, and total number of lift in a bank in 2 rows alcove formation should not exceed 8. A wall of 2 hours fire rating shall separate individual shaft in a bank. Lift car door shall have a fire resistance rating of half an hour only. We are discussing uh, the provisions to be made as per National Building Code for the various type of lift. The fifth feature is collapsible gate shall not be permitted for lift and shall have solid doors with fire resistance of at least 1 hour. If the lift shaft and lobby is in core of building, a positive pressure between 25 and 30 pascal shall be maintained in the lobby and a positive pressure of 50 pascal shall be maintained in the lift shaft. The mechanism for pressurization shall act automatically with the fire alarm. It shall be possible to operate this mechanically also. Uh, Let me understand that National Building Code or for any other code in India is provided with internationally accepted unit system that is known as SI system. SI system In SI system, the unit of pressure is Pascal and 100 kilopascal is equal to 1 atmospheric pressure roughly, just to compare. The next feature is exit from the lift lobby is located in the core of the building, shall be through a self-closing smoke stop door of half an hour resistance. Friends, we are discussing the normal provisions to be made uh, by virtue of National Building Code 2016 getting revised as 2025. The next feature of such lifts shall not normally communicate with the basement. If however lifts are in communication with the basement, the lift lobby of the basement shall be pressurized as given in previous feature with self-closing door as in H previously. Grounding switches at ground floor level shall be provided in all the lift to enable the fire service to ground the lift. This is very important feature with respect to electrical design. As per this, we are supposed to provide a separate uh, electrical switchboard for purpose of essential systems. One of them is the fire lift. The other features are external lighting, internal lighting in common area. The next feature, the telephone or other communication facilities shall be provided in lift car for building of 30 meters in height and above. Communication system for lift shall be connected to fire control room for the building. And as you know, the fire control room has to be uh, on left or right side at the entrance of the lift, that is main entrance of the lift. Suitable arrangements such as providing slope in the floor of the lift lobby shall be made to prevent water use during firefighting, etc. at any landing from entrance of the shaft. Friends, we are discussing the normal provisions to be made as per National Building Code 2016 or 25 as the case may be. Normally, when we are providing more than one lift in a bank, then then their arrangement is known as alcoving. This particular slide shows four type of alcoving of lift. The the diagram or schematic shown on the top right contains shows three number lift how they are to be arranged. The diagram on the left hand top left hand side shows arrangement of four number lift in a particular bank. The arrangement shown in left bottom shows arrangement of six number of lift, whereas on the right hand side it shows how to provide more than eight number lifts in one particular bank. More than eight number lift cannot be provided in a bank as per this code. Friends, we are discussing The arrangement of lift, 8 number lifts in one alcove, uh, as shown in this diagram. This is a general arrangement for 8 number lift to be provided at a place. There are one important feature of this is the floor itself. The floor here is provided with anti-static flooring because the person has to walk from one end to another end. This is a longer distance, and static electricity gets generated. In such cases, to quench that anti-static electricity generated in our body, this type of flooring is a must. Second feature of this diagram is the architrave. The portion surrounding one particular lift is known as architrave. Architrave, both sides, left and right, and on the top, this is known as architrave. This is one architrave from here to here. Friends, we have mentioned lift architect in the previous slide. This particular slide shows the architrave for a bank of 2 number lift in a row. The essential features of the architrave provides the lift door, the architrave in particular, the architrave on left side, architrave on the right side containing a combined floor selection switch on for both the lift, the floor level indicator, floor indicator at the top. Now normally these architraves are made of granite stone, but I highly recommend that this portion only this portion of architrave, this architrave should be provided stainless steel, because suppose if it is for a hospital lift, the person will bring, the hospital staff will bring a stretcher here, and there are many chances it may struck this surface, and if it is tile or any other surface, ordinary surface, then this portion gets broken by virtue of heavy striking of the stretcher lift. As, as such, stainless steel architraves are recommended. In this slide, we are touching about the green technology in the lift installations. Uh, Sufficient amount of guidance is given in ECVC 2019 and further amendments regarding energy consumption of lift also. So I will not touch that thing. It's only that some estimates project that the building consume about 40% of the world's energy, and elevators account for between 2 to 10% of the building's energy use. The leading elevator manufacturers are rising up to get those numbers down.